What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are going to take a look at this 2013 Aston Martin Vanquish. It is the successor to the Aston Martin DBS, and it kind of went under the radar. I think it might just be me, but I didn't really pay attention when this car came out. I thought it was another like DB9 Virage thing, and I really didn't notice how beautiful and how cool it actually is. So today we have borrowed this Aston Martin at Buena Vida Supercar Rental. You can rent this car yourself there. It is an amazing experience. It is a true Aston Martin GT car. It sounds amazing, it looks the freaking part, and well, if you're interested, go check out the link in the description and you will get a little discount if you mention us when you rent a car over there. So go check them out. Now, this car was built between 2012 and 2018 and it got a big facelift upgrade late 2014, and I'm going to start with that. This is a pre-facelift car, but if you are looking for an Aston Martin Vanquish, you should probably get a facelift car because it got a very big upgrade. The gearbox went from a ZF 6-speed to a ZF 8-speed, 0 to 100 4.1 to 3.6, top speed 295 kilometers an hour to 324, something like that. So and there are a couple of other things, but the gearbox is the main thing. So this is a pre-facelift car and it's got the VH3 platform underneath. Now, of course, the predecessor to the predecessor of this car was the original Vanquish, and that car had a very complex aluminium and carbon fiber platform. So after that, taking everything they learned from that, Aston Martin built a new platform called the VH platform, and this is the third version of that. And basically all the cars are on the VH platforms, which is pretty nice, and also means that they kind of all feel the same, which is a shame because the car does look very different if you compare it to a DB9. So let's talk about the design of this car, because I think this is the main thing that I kind of didn't notice when this car came out. When it came out, I thought it was like a Virage DB9 upgraded thing, but they actually incorporated quite a few things from the Aston Martin 177, which was their hypercar back in the day. So at the front, of course, we've got that classic Aston Martin front with that grille, absolutely gorgeous, but then the lower part, as you can see, is a little bit more aggressive. It is a bit more modern. You have a lot of carbon fiber here as well, quite a big piece there, and then a lower part here, which makes it look just a bit more serious actually. Still, the curving in there is just absolutely stunning, but it does mean that it looks quite a bit different compared to a DB9 or a Virage. You just have to look, you just have to look for it. And when you find the design cues, it is actually one of the most beautiful Aston Martins ever made, probably. So wheels, we've got these 20-inch wheels and carbon ceramic brakes behind that. Tires, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. Delicious, of course, 255 section tire at the front. And then one of my favorite things, and one of the things they took from the 177, is that you have this classic side blade, of course, but it is in carbon fiber, and then it stretches out all the way down the side almost to the door handle. You have this beautiful streak down the side, and it just gives the car such a cool look. The fact that it's carbon fiber, of course, makes it even cooler. In fact, all the body panels are carbon fiber, so it is an all carbon body, and this side skirt here is exposed carbon, so are the mirrors, and even the mirror mounting is carbon fiber, which is very nice. Optionally, you could also get an exposed carbon roof, and then down the side, these beautiful hips, of course, the classic Aston Martin profile again, with these sort of 177 rear lights and this integrated boot spoiler, which is also very cool. I think, you know, it looks like a baby 177, the rear, which I really like, with that exposed carbon diffuser, beautiful exhaust tips, and then, well, it's not really a diffuser, it's just a bumper really. This is the diffuser. As you can see, air flows through here. It's a bit of an undercover diffuser, which I quite like. Boot space is actually pretty decent. And of course, this is a 2+2, so you have 2 little seats there, which are completely useless. The car was also available as a 2-seater, so you would have like a shelf for your luggage, which is pretty nice, but it just is absolutely gorgeous. I just keep looking at it. And of course, the beautiful butterfly doors that move out and up, and then they stay in the position you leave them in, so you can get in and out easily and you don't hit the curb with your door. So let's check out the engine. The AM28 6-liter V12. Well, it's actually 5.9, right? 5.9 liter V12 with 573 horsepower and 620 newton meters of torque. As you can see, the engine sits just behind the front wheels, and you've got this amazing strut brace here, and again carbon fiber, the entire bonnet with this beautiful X in there, crossbar, super nice. Hand built in England. Now the facelift got 10 newton meters extra and around 3 horsepower, but again the gearbox thing is the most important upgrade for the facelift. After that there was also a Vanquish S, which had 600 horsepower and a couple of other upgrades like an exhaust, suspension and stuff like that. But apparently the suspension was softer with the Vanquish S, which is, you wouldn't expect that. So interior, check that out. We've got this gorgeous spec in here. The exterior, by the way, is Skyfall silver. And then we've got this burgundy and grey interior, which is super nice. Bang & Olufsen speakers in the doors and on top there. And of course the little tweeters that come out of the dash right there. A bit of an old steering wheel, but then with the new buttons that you've also find, I think, on the V8 Vanquish. And column mounted pedals behind that in carbon fiber, but they could be a bit bigger. They're a bit too small, so sometimes you're just trying to find them and then miss one of them. Updated interior here with these haptic feedback buttons and a little screen right there. Now we've got the emotional control unit, which is what Aston Martin calls a key. So you put that in there to turn on the ignition. So the infotainment is not great. They did upgrade it, as you can see, compared to like a DB9 or a DBS, but it's still, there's hardly anything in there. But the great thing is you just keep that thing pressed and the screen disappears and you've got this gorgeous carbon fiber center console and you don't have to look at the screen, which is great. So a lot of leather everywhere. Everything is covered in leather. Suede here on the roof, more leather. And then, as I said, the useless rear seats. Well, you could probably fit a couple of kids back there, small kids. And this gorgeous Vanquish seat as well with beautiful pattern in there. Yeah, the leather is just so soft. And a nice detail I found is that you have a little cover there with a little lip, and then you have your 12-volt and USB port behind that. Hope you guys can see that. It's quite dark in here, but there's a little magnet in there. So boop. Super cool. Okay, let's start it up. We have to press it all the way. So that sounds pretty epic. When we hit the sport button here, it is even more epic. So the valves open. But the weird thing about this valved exhaust is that you have a nice rev down here, but then suddenly the valve closes and then it opens again. And this happens during driving as well. So the valve sometimes closes, opens, it's very weird, but you can't rev it too loud. So it's almost like Aston Martin decided that you aren't allowed to rev it, that it's not befitting of an Aston Martin driver, you know. A gentleman only revs once, not twice. Alrighty, so let's take it for a little drive. We've got a co-driver here today who is going to help me navigate, as always. Left here. Yeah, definitely. Now, as I said, the rear seat is not really big enough for an adult. So, anyway, we are going to keep it in sport mode. As you can hear, the valves were closed and then they open. It's quite a weird thing. Horsey's here. What's up, buddies? They do enjoy a V12 sound, so. Oh, the sound is so good. It is just so pure and clean. And then sometimes you get like this little bit of a rumble on the overrun or a little crackle on the shift, but everything just feels natural, which is great. Driving it, as I said, it kind of feels like a DB9 or a DBS. It doesn't feel like a very modern and sophisticated platform. They did use quite a bit of aluminium and carbon fiber, but I don't know, it just feels a bit oldish, and that is also down to the fact that everything, it's not too direct, everything is pretty filtered. And it has been set up as a GT basically. I mean, even in the stiffest setting for the suspension, it is still super soft, which kind of confuses me because I thought that this was like the more sporty lineage. But yeah, no, it's really not. It's still a GT. Now, as you can see, pedal shifting is actually not that bad for an automatic from 2012. But that is one of the reasons why this car does feel its age. That gearbox is just a bit sluggish and sometimes doesn't really know what you want. And especially when you start using the pedals, it almost feels like it's against it, you know. It doesn't really like it. It is much happier if you just put it in drive. You have to keep that in sport though, because otherwise it is just too sluggish. Sport mode is much better, and then it actually does what you want it to do. Downshifts when you want it to, and yeah, that actually works pretty well. So at the Autobahn, it is quite busy today, so we'll see if we can get close to that 295. Here we go. Now, the weird thing is that it actually feels pretty fast. When you get on it, shifts down a couple of gears and it takes off, but it is not that quick. Max power is at 6,750 RPM and max torque is at 5,500 RPM, and especially that max torque, you feel that after that 5,500 it definitely, you know, it loses that push. But it's not a slow car. We did 100 to 200 in 8.85 seconds, which is not very quick for 573 horsepower, but it's not a slow car. The problem is that when you start comparing it to one of the competitors from back in the day, for instance a Ferrari F12, which we actually own, this car, then it starts feeling really old. It feels more like a Ferrari 599 competitor than it does an F12, and I think that is why you should consider this car as just a GT and really take into account that the platform this car is much older than the car itself. That's 280 something. Carbon ceramic brakes, very nice, they work properly. Well, it's not a slow car by any means, but it's not really that impressive. And that goes for more things. It never really overwhelms you. It never really manages to impress you with its power or handling or performance. It is just the experience that an Aston Martin offers, sitting here with all this incredible leather. It's drop dead gorgeous, and it just gives you a feeling that really no other car does. It feels completely different if you compare it to a Ferrari or a Bentley or something like that. This is just so friendly, cool, and it just sounds amazing. Very close to 300, very close, 298 on the speedo, a couple of trucks here. I mean, those are pretty big bumps, and I'm in the sporty setting, but it just absorbs everything so well. It is a true GT, it just looks a bit more sporty than you would expect. But it's still one of the coolest cars we've driven in a long time, just because it's an Aston Martin, just because it looks the way it does. After this, of course, came a DBS Superleggera, or a DBS. That is basically the successor to this car. But the DB11 actually came when this car was still available, and that is a big gap, you know. The DB11, the new platform, turbocharged V12 instead of this gorgeous naturally aspirated legend of an engine. This is actually the last car with this engine, which makes it kind of special as well. So that is it. Border is here, fun is over. I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, this car is available at Buena Vida Supercar Rental. Go check them out if you are interested in renting one of the coolest cars ever. I absolutely loved driving it. It is just such an incredible machine. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video or this playlist. See you at the next one. Bye.